Let's take a look at one set for every single restricted legendary in Scarlet and Violet Regulation G. I wanted to start with Skylarix Ice, and it's mainly alphabetical, but there might be some gaps. Don't ask why. For first of all, Calyrex Ice, it really only has one set with a few minor differences. You have Clear Amulet, Trick Room, and then some small differences in movesets. High horsepower could be close combat if you prefer, although I really recommend high horsepower because it doesn't lower your defenses when Calyrex Ice just wants to sit on the field and keep doing damage. So I recommend high horsepower, but close combat is higher base power. Now you could obviously run a psychic type. You could also run a psychic type coverage move, of course, like because of your stab, but you completely lose the ability to hit Incineroar super effective, who does hit you back. You just completely lose any and all power against Incineroar, which is obviously most likely and arguably still the strongest Pokemon in the metagame. So that's why you really need close combat or high horsepower. Now you can choose if you'd rather want Sword Stance or if you'd rather want Protect, as Sword Stance helps you power up really fast, while Protect is a great positional tool. AVs are very simple. You just go minus speed, 250 to attack, 250 to... It's very basic. It's just, you don't need anything special. Some useful partners for it actually consist of Incineroar for fake up pressure, Among Us purely because it's slow, it supports, and you can spore things and then keep damaging it. So Among Us is definitely a good position, helping tool. A second Trick Room setter is always good. I would say either Farigiraf or Porygon 2. However, there are obviously other options. One interesting thing I have seen is adding Tinglu to make Calyrex even bulkier. If you do this, there are a bunch of sets you can run, but I would recommend at least giving it, where's the stupid thing, Sand Tomb, so you can trap Pokemon in and just keep damaging them and giving them a really hard time to position. It's an interesting strategy for sure. Next up, let's talk about the thing everyone's scared of in this regulation, Calyrex Shadow. Calyrex Shadow has so many sets it could run. The most basic one is Focus Sash, Astral Barrage, Draining Kiss, Nasty Plot, Protect. Focus Sash makes sure you always live at least one hit. Draining Kiss makes it so you can hit dark types, and you can have a lot of HP back. And one Nasty Plot and Astral Barrage, just one or two shots every single thing in the meta, basically. Another interesting set you can run on it is Choice Specs. Oh my god, I can't type. I cannot type. Choice Specs, and then giving it Draining Kiss, Psychic, or actually, that's probably me. Psychic or Expanding Force, depending on what your team likes. Then probably add just Leaf Storm because it's the best coverage move. But if you have maybe Terra Fire thing, you could also run Terra Blast. Some useful partners for it include Tornadus, as it just makes you go even faster, so you just hit even harder and just faster, and you can win games on the spot if you get the leads right. It's just an amazing positional tool. And then DD, as you can just do very fast, very hard hitting side spam. A team that isn't prepared for it just gets completely swiped. Now let's go to the next one. Dialga. Now Dialga is an interesting one, as I think you always want Adamant Crystal, just because you can make your Draco Meteor and Flash Cannon hit really hard. And you just have Trick Room Telepathy. You're quite a bit bulkier, and then you can just put it next to Ursaluna and just start spamming Earthquake. Just Earthquake and Flash Cannon hit so much of the metagame, and then Draco Meteor can get that one cheeky KO that is unexpected. I wouldn't say it's the best thing, but it can be very fun, and it can just also be really strong. Next up is Eternatus. Now, Eternatus has so many sets it could run. It could run Choice Specs, Life Orb, Power Herb, Meteor Beam, but I wanted to show a more unique set. in Flamethrower, Toxic, Recover, Protect. It's not a strategy commonly used in Scarlet and Violet, especially VGC, but especially Scarlet and Violet because it's so fast paced. Like we have seen Toxic work, for example, in Gen 7 for a bit, but in Gen 9 it is never gonna work anymore. But this is the one set that could probably do it. You could also run Cosmic Power, but I don't fully recommend it as it doesn't really much. But with pressure, you PP stall a lot of things. You just do so much damage. And then I'd say run a White Guard user, Fake Out user, maybe Among Us. Yeah, just make sure you don't get hit and just slowly PP on Toxic stall with pressure. It's a strange set, but it definitely does work. Groudon has two main sets: Clear Amulet, Bulk Up, Heat Crash, Precipice Blades on the Saltfest. I wanted to highlight Clear Amulet, Bulk Up, because it's just like you just become so incredibly bulky, tank hits, and if you become bulky enough, you don't care about a few Precipice Blade misses because you just keep tanking those hits. So yeah, a really important one is the heroes. I think you always want Terra Fire. Other types, like for example, Eternatives can have multiple Terra types, but I think with Groudon you always want Terra Fire for the fire resist and the heat crash power up. Some great partners for it include Protosynthesis Pokemon, of course, like Fluttermane, but also one I really think is strong is Ogerpon Heartflame. As you just one Terra Fire in Sun, one shots so much, just off the spot, just hit hard, and then you just become really bulky. It can get Follow Me, so you can get that nice 1 or 2 bulk ups as well. And then you can just start spamming Precipice Blades, and you just hit so much, and you can win games with that very easily. It's a very strong Pokemon. Koraidon has an interesting one. It has 2 sets, Choice Band and Clear Amulets. I really recommend Clear Amulets, as well as just always Terra Fire. It's because you get to stab on Flare Blitz, and because it's an amazing defensive typing. The idea of the Pokemon is very simple. You hit hard, you're fast, and you just do big stab damage. That's the entire idea. Some good partners include kind of the same as, actually not kind of, it just includes basically the same as Koraidon. I think, as Groudon. Groudon is more of a balancey Pokemon, while Koraidon is more of a hyper offense Pokemon. So Protosynthesis Pokemon are strong on it, of course, but also Ogerpon Fire, Grassy Glide Spam with Ogerpon Fire, and Rillaboom are incredible options on Koraidon teams. Right, Miraidon. It has a few sets. I've personally really been testing a Choice Big set, which I really like. I think you really want to Ghost on it so you can just ignore any and all fake out and just bank and hit them back. And you just hit so much. I've seen Choice Spec sets one shot Incineroars, which is honestly insane. You just hit so hard, you're so fast. But the one thing is, you need to be good at terrain wars because Rillaboom is everywhere. So keep in mind if you play this. You will have terrain wars, which is something that not every player is as good at as others. Some really good options include, of course, Iron Bundle, as you know, you can just run Focus Sash, Icy Wind, and just make him ride even faster. But an interesting one, which I don't see a lot of people talk about, is Iron Valiant, as it gets every single supportive moves under the sun and moon and everything. It gets every single coverage move. I would personally recommend Spirit Break, like a Spirit Break, so you can lower the special attack of, for example, Cataract Shadow. But after that, you have White Guard, Icy Wind, so you're faster, and then you just have an incredible load of moves that you can run. You can run Taunt, Encore if that's more your playstyle, Thunder Wave. You can run a second coverage move to hit Pokemon hard. There is so much you can put on this Pokemon. It all works. This Pokemon is the coverage demon, and now it can finally run Focus Sash while being faster than every other Pokemon in the field. I truly think that Iron Valiant is a great option. Another great option, which I will very briefly talk about, is Iron Moth, because Iron Moth, because it gets the incredible move of where is it? It gets the incredible acid spray move, so you can be faster than everything, lower special defense by 2 stages, and the Miraidon can just nuke it in a single turn. So I do think it's less strong, but it definitely does have a niche case that you can try out. Lunala, it has one really set you can use, but it doesn't do it really well with Moongush Beam, Meteor Beam, Trick Room, and White Guard as just a bulky Trick Room setter, capable of tanking every single hit with Shadow Shield, and then you can just, with after one Meteor Beam, Moongush Beam just nukes things. The one issue I do have with this is Meteor Beam is only used once. The moment you use it, you are walled by all dark types because you just do 0 damage. So keep in mind, don't just instantly click Meteor Beam if you need it to hit a specific Pokemon. So it is a bit harder to play. Terapagos is very interesting as it has so many options. It should be Earth Power. But yeah, you have Earth Power, Terra Starstorm. You just have a bunch of Pokemon capable of supporting it to set up Calm Minds, like Incineroar, Rillaboom for Fake Out Pressure. Do be careful, if you terrestrialize it, Rillaboom's terrain will be gone. A really interesting one, however, I want to talk about is Screen Tail. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but with Encore and Disable, the main way you stop Terapagos is with Disrupt move, like Fake Out, you want to protect the position, and Scream Tail punch that really bad. If they Fake Out in front of you, they have to switch out as they just get Encored or Disabled. Another strong way to stop it is Snarl Spam, which doesn't work if your Snarl gets disabled. So I think Scream Tail is an amazing supportive option for Terapagos. Zacian, it's Zacian. It hits hard, it does good damage. The nerf was really bad though. The moment you get intimidated, you will never get that attack boost back, which is why Terra types are very can be interchanged. I say water, fire, or grass are best, as they each give a good supportive option. Grass is good for Spore and Rage Powder immunity, and fire and grass are dependent of what your team has for supportive tools. An interesting thing I want to mention, obviously Tornadus is an amazing option for it, but Gouging Fire as well, as you're just fast and everything, and even if you are intimidated, you can still get that attack boost back by spamming Howl. I do think this is something worth exploring, and something that can definitely be very strong. Zamazenta, it does one thing, it's technically the best at it. We've seen it in Regulation E and F. We've seen it work with Iron Defense, Stab, Body Press, a big difference, and the Steel type Steel type coverage move. The one big difference is it gets Wild Guard. I don't think it's very good, but it has a niche, and I was going to talk about every single one. Good options would include Incineroar, Among Us, and Rillaboom for incredible redirection, fake out, and healing options. So I don't think it's great, but it works, and you can definitely build a team around it and get some game wins. Kyogre, there's such a discussion. Is Kyogre good? Is Kyogre bad? What should you say? Like Kyogre this, Kyogre that. It's very difficult. I do think there are two main sets. You have Choice Scarf and Mystic Water, both of which I think you need Terra Grass for. But yeah, you just click Water Spout, Ice Beam, and Origin Pulse, and you just hit so much of the metagame. You do get walled out pretty hard by grass types, so options like Rillaboom are great for support, as you get Fake Out Pressure, and you can hit those water types which wall you. Tornadus is obviously the best partner for it, as you get 100% accurate Bleak Wind Storms, and you get Tailwind support to just bonk everything on the head. Necrozma Dawnwings. Now, to be clear, neither Necrozma is good, but if you are dead set on using Necrozma, use Dawn Wings, as it can at least hit Incineroar somehow by clicking Meteor Beam into it. Other than that, it's slow. It's slow. He gets Trick Room, and he gets Expanding Force. So just put it next to Indeedee, click Trick Room, and start spamming Expanding Force, and hope you can get some cheeky kills. And when Incineroar switches in, you click Meteor Beam. Solgaleo. Solgaleo is an interesting one. I don't think it's good, as it's a balanced Pokemon in a format where everything is good, and that 113 special attack really hurts it and really brings it down. I'd say run Sunseal Strike, Close Combat, Guard Guard Protect. Its good strat is that you can't be intimidated, so you can just run Life Orb and just do big damage while protecting your team with White Guard. So you make it fast enough, for example, to have Icy Wind support to outspeed. It should be a bit higher, but yeah. Make it fast enough to hit what you need it to hit with Icy Wind support. Give it Pokemon to help it with, maybe Among Us redirection, and just try to make it hit enough Pokemon, and then White Guard can protect your other Pokemon. I don't think it's horrible. I don't think it's great either. Lugia. Now Lugia is it's bad. Like there's no denying it's bad, but it gets Calm Mind. It gets a very strong flying type move. Say Earth Power for coverage. With multi skill you can get up multiple Calm Minds. Your you become a basically immovable special wall, and you just start getting out of hand. I don't think it's great, but it has a niche, and I think that's important enough. So yeah, you have multi skill. To just tank hits, leftovers to slowly heal. There are a bunch of terras that you can use. Water, you can use water. You can use grass, depending on what you need. Some great support probably includes Fake Out Pressure, like with most setup Pokemon. Maybe an Icy Wind user. I doubt it's really good a lot of Tailwinds, but I think you definitely want a lot of Pokemon who can chip damage away and force other Pokemon out. Pokemon like Fluttermane, for example. I do think it might become better in double restricted, but for now in single restricted, it is fine. It's not good, but maybe you can cheek out some wins with it. Zekrom I actually really believe in. Because it gets Clear Amulet now. You can just start spamming Dragon Dance and then have incredible double stab of Fusion Bolt and Dragon Claw. I think this is very strong, and I think it definitely has a niche. Make it fast enough to outspeed Scarf Urshifu after one Dragon Dance and then just do massive damage. I think good options for support are Pokemon like Among Us, Incineroar, of course, just redirection, Fake Out support. But I also think Pokemon like Screamtail, again, are very strong, as a great way to stop setup options is by disruptive moves, which get completely removed and you can really disrupt your opponent using disruption moves. Wow, that was a tongue twister. By using Screamtail. So I think Screamtail is an incredible option on this team, and if you run Zekrom, just make sure it gets those turns to set up and really sweep. Clear and White, it does one thing. I don't know if it does it well, but it has Blizzard, it has Draco Meteor, it has Freeze Dry, it has Fusion Flare. You put it next to Ninetales, you spam Terra Ice Blizzard, and you just have some coverage moves. It's honestly, with this incredible bulk options and this incredible special attacking stats, it just kind of feels like it's Articuno but on steroids. This thing is very hard to get off the field, and it just keeps dealing massive damage. It definitely has use. Put it next to Alolan Ninetales and Prevail. Oh, that's a nice word. Giratina. Do not use Giratina, please. But if you want to use Giratina, Draco Meteor, Hex, Will-O-Wisp is probably your best option. Will-O-Wisp just supports your team so well, and with Hex you can actually deal significant damage. Gracious Orb really increases its power. You have some special attack options. If like special attack, at least with Gracious Orb, don't run it, but if you run it, use something like Hex Will-O-Wisp. I honestly don't even know how to support this thing. I guess other status spammers, maybe Grimmsnarl could be good. Yes, you can have screens to make your stuff even bulkier, and it can spam Prankster Thunderwave. So I guess have a bunch of Pokemon who can support this bulk. Amoonguss would also be good with sleep, so just have a bunch of status spreading Pokemon. Well, we're almost at the end. Cure Black. It does one thing, but it is which is loaded dice, icicle spear, skill shot, just big damage, become faster, just hit even harder. The main problem with it is sadly you are so weak to intimidate. So, but yeah, run a Terra type. There are a bunch of Terra types that are all good. I'd honestly say probably water, maybe fire, but probably water. So yeah, just add the water Terra and just hope you don't get intimidated. Probably if you want to get a bunch of Pokemon who can really threaten Incineroar, those are probably your best options. Maybe something like a Defiant user who can really punish intimidate spam. Meaning that's your best option. It's just it's so weak to intimidate, which doesn't make it great, but it is definitely usable. Do not use Mewtwo. Please do not use Mewtwo. But if you do, just you don't even need a nerf. A nerf is actually pretty good. Like both are probably optional. They're both not great abilities, but both are optional. Just give it to Stellar Terra, Life Orb, Psy Strike, 2 coverage moves. I went for T-Bolt and Ice Beam for perfect coverage. And just try to hit things, but you just get walled by Incineroar once again, except if you run Aerosphere, which even that I believe it doesn't even one shot. So you need so much support around it. You just need so many ways to hit the dark types of the meta. It's so hard to play, and Mono-Psychic just isn't great. Even its defensive profile is just so weak. Then you have Palkia Origin. Lustrous Globe, Telepathy, like put a Pokemon next to it with spread moves like Earthquake Spam, give it Hydro Pump, Spatial Rend, and just big RNG doesn't screw you over. Thunder Wave can be a great supportive tool, however, but yeah, get like a Pokemon that can spam Earthquake next to it. Oh, or Earthquake, I can't spell. So yeah, you pick a Pokemon that can spam Earthquake, like, let's see, what's a good attacking type of attacking Pokemon? Earthquake. Like a Landorus Therian, put a Scarf on Landorus Therian, spam Earthquake. Maybe you can run Icy Wind on it, which wouldn't even bad. Let's get Icy Wind, yeah. You click Icy Wind on it, you put Icy Wind on it, you spam Earthquake, you try to just hit the Pokemon, and it's probably workable, but it's not great. You also have Reshiram, of course, as a restricted Pokemon. You put Choice Scarf. I think the only real way to hit it is Choice Scarf, Terra Grass, Terra Blast, so you can maybe, in close team sheets, maybe snipe out a few Pokemon, and then Draco Meteor, Heat Wave, Earth Power just hits so hard. Heat Wave for good spread damage, Draco Meteor to nuke, and Earth Power for coverage. You make it really fast. It has a decent special attacking stat. It's definitely workable. Maybe it becomes good in double restricted, but I wouldn't run it in single restricted, where your entire team is supposed to center around one Pokemon, making it more of a liability than, well, not a liability, but it's very hard to center a team around a balanced Pokemon. The last Pokemon I want to talk about is Rayquaza with Clear Amulet, Terra Normal, Extreme Speed, Dragon Descent, and Swords Dance. Have a bunch of Pokemon who can support it into setting up Swords Dance, then maybe put Xianpao next to it and just start spamming Extreme Speed and hope you clean the opponent before they hurt you. The problem is that 150 special attack stats, the defense is not high enough that you can get up a Swords Dance and then start spamming Extreme Speed. It is a very hard Pokemon to get right, but it is definitely possible. I truly think Rayquaza can do like good significant damage, especially because it's one of the few Pokemon to get a good strong flying type move that just can really be spammed. So yeah, these are my takes on every single Pokemon used. Let me know what you think. And yeah, that's all for me. Bye.